All right. So, welcome everyone to our first September Workshop Wednesday. And what I tend to think is back in the swing of things after a summer that was busier than probably many of us wanted it to be, but hopefully we all got a little R&R time as well. But for our first
You
Workshop
can go up there
Wednesday,
and take some photos in the meantime, though.
so for the first Workshop Wednesday of kind of our new fall semester, I'm pleased to bring to you our friends from the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. And that is headed up by their new executive director and our friend Bill Fazioli. So I'm gonna toss it over to Bill, and he's got some great information to share with all of our cities and towns here. And as you folks have questions, you can either type those into the chat or hold them for the end, and I'll help moderate the questions. So, Bill, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jennifer, and hello, everybody. Again, I'm Bill Fazioli with the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. I joined the bank in January, but last week was appointed executive director, so it's a great chance to meet and see everyone here. Give a little background about the bank and some of our legacy programs we've had up and running, and some of our new grant programs, which have been very successful and very popular among communities. So we're excited about sharing some high-level information about that, about the grants and the different activities that can be funded, and some of the timelines for the RFPs associated with the grant. So I'm happy to be joined with my colleague Ana Cortez today. He'll be talking about some of our legacy programs, and Kim Koryeth will be talking about our MRP programs, which I know many of you have already been in touch with. We'll probably take questions at the end, but you can type any questions in the chat, and Jennifer will be monitoring that. We're hoping to also have Chris Farrell from the governor's office join us. I think he's running a little late, so we might skip his part of the presentation and circle back when he joins us. But if we can go ahead with the next slide, just want to give a little broad overview of the bank. For over 30 years, the bank has been providing financing, subsidized financing for our communities in some key core areas. Water and sewer are sort of our bread and butter focus we've been doing again for over 30 years, but in the last few years we've expanded our activities to finance climate resiliency programs, clean energy through our EDF, and now municipal road and bridge, and occasionally we do some brownfield remediation projects. For the last 30 years, our main focus has been providing low subsidized interest rates. We also provide direct access to the capital. The bank has a AAA rating, which allows us to borrow at very competitive rates that pass on those savings to our communities, and then provide a subsidy under various programs. So if you can go to the next one, Kim, you can see how that works. The below market financing that we can provide communities is really the only place in the state that you're going to be able to do that. So even if you're a community that's highly rated, AA or AAA, or even a single rated community, the fact that we can offer you up to 1/3 subsidy on various financing programs makes us a very attractive program to work with on financing your infrastructure needs. And this sort of outlines some of the different areas that we've been focusing on, but we've been growing a lot on helping with clean energy and resiliency programs, which we'll get into the next few slides. So the next slide gets into a little bit about, again, why to consider the bank. The lower interest rates, you can save on transaction costs rather than going to the market on your own. We combine a bunch of other communities together to do pool financings that reduces a lot of the transaction costs, and the ability to aggregate financings allow us to actually attract better rates and attract a higher, more aggressive investors, because we're usually selling bonds in the $50 to $100 million range, which makes the bonds more attractive as opposed to communities selling smaller denominations. So at this point, we're going to go into some of the grant programs. Again, unfortunately, I don't think Chris is with us. He is. Chris, if you're with us, we could have you come up and take over this slide. Chris Farrell from the governor's office was instrumental in this new phase of the municipal infrastructure grant, which is tied into the IIJA. So Chris, if you're there, if you could unmute yourself and take over this presentation from this point. Do you see him, Jennifer?
I don't see him on here unless
Okay,
he's under
no.
another name.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
can circle back. We'll go back to we'll go through this next 2 slides, and then we'll just kick off with the discussion on the municipal resiliency program, which Kim has been overseeing for the last several years. So.
Hi, everyone. Kim Correa from the Infrastructure Bank. Thank you all for joining today. It's good to see everybody on the call. I'll be talking a little bit about the Municipal Resilience Program, which I know a number of you are familiar with. First and foremost, as you know, back in 2017, our previous governor, Governor Raimondo, had called for the development of Resilient Rhode, the state's first climate action strategy. The bank had taken the lead on this and worked with statewide partners to develop 61 key actions in order to drive forward resilience across Rhode Island. And one key need that came out of this process and the development of the strategy was, excuse me, a need to develop a program that would assist communities in both prioritization and funding of resilience actions. And this is how the Municipal Resilience Program was born. As you can see here, the Municipal Resilience Program has 3 key components. The MRP workshops. These are delivered in strong collaboration between the Infrastructure Bank and primarily the Nature Conservancy, who leads this through their community resilience building workshop process. And in these workshops, TNC works with communities to identify key hazards, strengths, vulnerabilities, priority actions on climate resilience, and ultimately leading to the development of localized resilience strategies that are provided to communities. And through this process to date, with the 33 municipalities we've conducted workshops with, there have been over 1,600 key resilience actions identified. So a lot of good work going on here. The second part of this program is the Municipal Resilience Program action grants. This is primarily led on the bank's end, and these action grants go towards funding design and construction of capital projects with resilience benefits. And to date, we've had $7.4 million in action grant funding awarded to date, with more funding coming down the line, which I'll be describing further in a minute here. And the third part of this program is an ongoing Municipal Resilience Program project pipeline. So we recognize that there's a lot of different resilience actions to be funded. Some of them go beyond design and construction. There's different planning actions, outreach actions, and we work to coordinate with municipalities on other financing approaches for some of these other actions as well, to make sure that we start to cover all of these actions that come out of these workshops. And I'll dive a little bit more specifically into the action grants here. The key takeaway is that these MRP action grants are really there to enable participating municipalities to implement their climate resilience projects coming out of the workshops. These are grants, they don't have to be repaid, there's no interest rates, administrative fees. There is a match component of 25%. However, up to half of this can be in kind, your staff time. So you're effectively looking at a 12.5% cash match. And given that these are coming through state funds, a lot of the federal funding that you're getting that's all eligible for this match as well. So lots of opportunities here. Entities that are eligible include municipalities who have completed their MRP workshop to date. And eligible projects are relatively wide ranging. I mentioned earlier, we're really focusing on those design, construction projects. And we're looking at projects that tackle climate change vulnerabilities and hazards that can be everything from flooding, high temperatures, high winds, storm events, using sustainable long-term approaches. These approaches that'll fit into your municipality's long-term resilience plan. And there's a strong focus here on green infrastructure solutions, clean energy solutions, but also on relocation or redesign of vulnerable infrastructure to tackle some of these vulnerabilities. And I mentioned further funding that we have available. We're really excited to have received $16 million through the 2022 state green bonds funding for MRP action grants, and we're going to be working on rolling that out soon. I know I've had a conversation with a number of you in the past couple of weeks here, but we are looking to release that RFP any day now, so that'll be upcoming. And you can see to the right here an example of a project completed to date. This is over in Bristol. They completed a watershed restoration project at their municipal golf course to alleviate some of the flooding at the downstream Tupelo Street neighborhood. Everything from riparian buffer plantings and daylighting of some of the streams in this area. And they actually have just wrapped up this project very successfully. And last thing here on the Municipal Resilience Program, we're really excited to have 90% of Rhode Island municipalities participating to date, both coastal and inland municipalities, as these climate hazards affects all of us across the state in different ways. We're really looking forward to other folks joining the program as well, other municipalities. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, we'd love to have them join and join the program here. And before we move on to the further programs here, there are a number of other resilience and stormwater programs here available at the bank, our Stormwater Project Accelerator, our overflow sewer grants, OSG. So feel free to reach out to myself or any of my colleagues here if you're interested in some of those other programs as well. With that, I'll turn it back to
Thank
Bill.
you, Kim. Yeah, one of the things we wanted to note, since we have a larger pool of money to work with for the MRP, is that we're going to be increasing the size of the eligible projects. I think in the past, the maximum amount would have been like $250,000 or $500,000 per project. We're looking to increase that to $1 million to allow for bigger projects. With the sort of the rain events we had this year, I think we all see that the chronic flooding has become a major issue for our urban areas. As well as other areas of the state. So we're going to be allowing for larger scale projects to come in. I believe we'll be making some of the additional tweaks to allow for projects to take over, rather than having it completed over within a year, over a couple of years, to allow for the larger scale projects to be submitted for consideration, and also to be paying for some of the upfront design work as well that would lead to construction as well. So all of those details will be contained in the RFP that we'll be issuing probably in the next week or so. And our goal is to get it out in September, have a RFP process run through October, and then go to our board in November of this year, December of this year, to make awards. So communities can start planning their construction projects or the design projects early in 2024. So we're very excited about that as well. So we'll get into a very, very brief overview. One of the other community one of the appropriations in the state budget was this new housing related grant program. $4.3 million was allocated to the state budget to support the physical infrastructure to produce additional housing. The folks who are eligible to apply for this include municipalities or any municipal agency designated to act on their behalf. And 2 or more municipalities may apply jointly, with one acting as a fiscal agent. So like, for instance, like Pawtucket and Central Falls, or a Warwick or West Warwick could apply together, but one of them has to be the actual applicant to serve as a fiscal agent. The next slide gets into a little bit about the eligibility of what can be funded through this grant program. It's really pre-development costs, site development work that needs to take on to make a site readily available to accommodate new housing. Things like installation or replacement of water or wastewater utilities, sidewalk, drainage, and other related improvements. Sometimes a lot of these sites may have been former commercial or retail or even industrial sites that might not be suitable to deal with residential development. And a lot of times residential development has higher demand for certain water or wastewater facilities. So again, these will be grants made to municipalities who will be looking to prepare sites to accommodate new housing, additional housing. The criteria for the housing units is still being established by the housing department along with the pandemic relief office, because these are ARPA funds that are being used. So there's certain treasury guidelines that we have to contend with in order to how the money is allocated. We are looking to have that finalized probably in the next few weeks. This RFP most likely won't be issued towards the end of our September because we have to go through some public notice periods as well and through some other satisfying to other requirements from the pandemic relief office. But the priority will be given to projects that maximize the number of units to be built along with the infrastructure investment. So we're trying to have a metric that will help evaluate proposals that maximize the number of units to go along with the grant. It's not a huge pool of money, but we think it's a great start. Hopefully the legislature will continue, funding this after these funds do expire. But we think this is a great way to promote housing development in our communities in Rhode Island. So the next slide talks a little bit about the timeline. Again, it's expected to be issued beginning of October, late September, again with awards made in November, December. The funds must, since they are ARPA funds, they must be obligated to spend in accordance with federal guidelines. And we all know that those timelines are sneaking up on us fairly quickly. And then the grantees will be required to provide monthly reporting to the Pandemic Relief Office through the bank as well. So we'll help coordinate that. But we think this is a fantastic way to, spur additional housing development, all throughout the state, not just in urban areas, but in every community that's looking to support housing, that sites need to have some additional utilities or improvements to make them more suitable. And to have the city or town make these investments just makes these developments more likely rather than having the cost being shifted onto the developer. So the next slide, we're going to turn it over to Anna, who's been with the bank for 25 plus years, to talk about some of our core programs that are always available to our cities and towns, and they've proven to be very popular over the years.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see this fantastic turnout this morning. Like Bill mentioned, I'm just going to talk about 4 of our standard programs. I'm just going to give like a little brief overview. The first one is the Municipal Road and Bridge Program. We work in collaboration with Rhode. The MRB program provides affordable long-term financing for transportation infrastructure projects, including roads, sidewalks, and bridges. The benefits are 1/3 off your market rate. Loans can be up to 20 years, and they can be structured to meet your repayment abilities. Eligible entities are municipalities. Along with within our MRB program, we can also use funding for RIDOT's new MRB 2/3 match requirement. The only requirement is that you will need to have your project on RIDOT's project priority list. Next slide, Ken. The next program is our EBF program, Efficient Building Program. We work in collaboration with the Office of Energy Resources. EBF provides long-term subsidized loans for the design and construction of projects that conserve energy and produce clean energy. This program provides for 33% below market rate borrowing. Eligible entities are municipalities and quasi-public agencies. We also offer free technical assistance, including energy audits, application support, establishing baseline metrics, and much more. EBF projects aid in cutting energy costs, bringing up resources for municipal programs and administration. And the good news is that the application period opens on September 18th. So we do encourage all municipalities and quasi-public agencies to get your applications in.
And one of the good things about the application process, we provide free of charge technical assistance to help a community prepare their application. We have a third-party technical advisor that can work with you and your staff to identify what type of projects might be eligible, how to fashion your application to the Office of Energy Resources. So if anyone's interested, please contact us directly. We already had several calls for communities who are looking to get their projects on the project priority list so they can be funded later this year. But the application process, requires some technical knowledge, but again, we can provide that assistance free of charge as well. And even if you don't have an EBF project, we also do these energy audits free of charge as well through our third-party technical advisor. We have one that will be kicking off soon with the city of Pawtucket, and we're finalizing the evaluation of an application from the city of Newport. So they're very popular now. Obviously, everyone's looking to save energy and reduce their carbon footprint, and this is a great free tool that cities and towns could work with us. And it doesn't have to be a broad, huge undertaking. The scope could be very narrow and specific, just to find out what the benefits are in terms of identifying clean renewable energy sources to replace traditional legacy fuel sources. So again, as Anna said, the application period is available on the OER website, but it opens up September 18th, and we encourage anyone who's interested to contact us, and we would help them with the application.
Okay, next slide. Next program is our biggest program, which is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. We provide attractive long-term financing for wastewater, stormwater, and water pollution abatement projects. Loans can be up to 30 years. Loans are 1/3 below a borrower's market rate. Improvements, funds can be made available for improvements to wastewater treatment facility, pump station upgrades, sewer lines, stormwater and dam removal or repair. Stormwater management and green infrastructure projects may qualify for principal forgiveness. Some examples of projects are rain gardens, permeable pavement, parking lots and sidewalks, bio retention systems, fish ladders, and projects that promote energy efficiency. For the Clean Water Program, applications are ongoing through our Enable portal. If you do not have Enable credentials, please reach out to me and I can set you up so that you can submit your applications. And next slide. Last program I'm going to talk about is the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. We work with the Department of Health. We collaborate with the Department of Health on this program. This program provides below market interest rates to community public water systems, non-profit, non-community public water systems, privately organized water suppliers, and local governmental units. Eligible projects and uses include planning, design, and construction of safe drinking water supply, treatment, and transmission infrastructure, grant acquisition, water supplier restructuring, refinancing of existing debt, and guaranteeing or purchasing of insurance for local debt obligations. With this program, we currently offer 25% of borrowers' market rate of financing. With projects must be on Department of Health's project priority list. And this program as well, we use our Enable portal to accept applications, and you can submit applications at any time.
So I
Can I
think,
interrupt? Sorry, can I just interrupt to ask a relevant question to the topic here from the chat? We're getting a question about whether any private entities are eligible for the Clean Water Program.
yeah, under certain circumstances, they could be possible to entertain that. That would be something we'd be willing to have a conversation on. But traditionally, it's for public entities, but under certain circumstances, private entities could be considered. We do have another program that a lot of private homeowners use to upgrade their septic systems, community septic loan program, with, you know, Portsmouth and Tiverton are big users. So a lot of these communities that don't have the centralized wastewater treatment facility, you know, a lot of their residents are on the septic loan, have septic. So we provide loans through Rhode Island Housing where they can upgrade or replace their septic system as well. And that's all for private users as well.
Great, thank you. And one more, excuse me. We also got from several people a question around which funds would make the most sense for bicycle infrastructure, if any.
That's a good question. I think, you know, that could be tied into the MRP if it's also part of maybe sometimes a drainage or a stormwater project as well. Sometimes bike routes can accommodate that type of objective. Out of the three that we have, I think that's probably the most relevant one for bike and you know, different types of pedestrian access.
Absolutely.
Great.
No, just adding to that as well. Yeah, we see combinations of that with green infrastructure projects a lot. It can be a good combination for the municipal resilience program.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I guess we can circle back to slides 5 and 6 and talk about the MIG program. So I don't know if Chris, if you're on, if you want to jump. No, don't see him yet.
No.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
sorry.
There you
There
go.
he is.
Yeah, great. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, everybody. So hopefully you can't hear the can you hear the background noise? Because there's work going on outside my window. Okay, great. The headphones are working. So just a brief background here. So the Municipal Infrastructure IIJ matching grants. These are municipal matching grant funds. And basically what we created was a municipal matching grants fund pool, because we heard from all the cities and a number of cities and towns that said, listen, I'd apply for these IIJA grants. And when I say IIJA, I mean the Biden infrastructure law. They kind of use two different acronyms. But so they said, we'd love to apply for these grants, but we're not able to actually afford the matching portion of it. So a lot of these grants have a 20% matching requirement. Some have a 10%. But that can really add up to some real dollars with a grant that's $1 million, $2 million, $3 million large. So what we did is we, in the governor's office, reached out to some other states that were having the same issues, pulled our collective thoughts together, and created what is called the Municipal Matching Grants Fund. And so that's what we have here today. And those are the funds that are going to be available to you through MIGP. Some key facts here is that the funds are solely for IIJA grant matching fund requirements. So there's 5.5 million in total, and it's going to be but what you'll have to do is identify the IIJA grant that you want to go after, and then you can apply for these matching funds. Is there the next screen by any chance? There we go. So if you'd like, we have a spreadsheet that we have given out to the legacies in towns. We've updated it regularly with the IIJA grant announcements. And so if you'd like a tutorial on that IIJA grant spreadsheet, feel free to reach out to me and we can go through it. If your city and town somehow has not received it yet, reach out to me. And we can go through this spreadsheet, and I can send that over to you. What the spreadsheet has is it has all of the grants. So the IIJA legislation are 200 plus grants, and it has them organized by name, requirements that are required, eligibility status, a link to the website so you can get more information on the grant. It's a one-stop shop for every grant that's in IIJA that we're eligible for. The next step is you'd fill out and submit the Municipal Matching Funds Pool application to RIB and provide supporting documentation. So there'll be an application that you'll see that comes out with this posting. I don't know the technical term of this. I think it's an RFP, but I don't want to guess. I'm very new to MIGP, so I don't want to guess at the terms here. But what the application will come out with that, so will the spreadsheet as well, and we can send it out individually if you'd like. And then a committee will review and score the application. And then the committee will schedule follow-up meetings with each applicant to go through the results of the committee's review. So you fill out, you identify the grant you want to go after, you fill out and submit the application, and then the committee will review it at RIB, and then RIB will call you and your team in for a follow-up meeting about your application. If a municipality's application and submission is approved, RIB will hold that amount requested by the municipality until it receives notification from the federal government of whether they were awarded the grant. So there's a little bit of lag time between, right? You'll submit your application, we'll say, okay, we want to move forward with this, we approve it. And what we'll do is we'll put a hold on that money. So if your match was $100,000, then $100,000 will be reserved for you until you hear back from the federal government, because you'll submit your application to the federal government, and it usually takes anywhere between 3 and sometimes 8 months to hear back from them. But within that time, we're going to reserve that money that we've approved for you for your match. And the RFP is expected to be issued at the end of September. So you'll see what the application is. You'll receive the application. We'll be emailing out the spreadsheets to everybody. And if your town doesn't already have it, please, reach out to my email and we can go through the spreadsheet together.
Yeah.
Is there another slide, or is that?
I think that's it, but I think we want to also point out that this is a rolling application. This isn't, this is a period of time where communities could submit the application for grants as they come about. There's no hard deadline, but more of a rolling application as opposed to the other ones, which will have submission due dates probably sometime at the end of October. So,
sorry, Bill, and just one additional important note. The municipality will be required to put in 20% of what we reserve. So what does that mean, right? So out of the 100% of the matching amount, so let's say your matching amount was 100,000, or 200,000 or what have you. If it's 100,000, what you'll be required to do is each city and town will be required to contribute 20,000 of that matching amount. Right. So if it's $100,000 matching amount, you'll only be required to put in 20,000, and we'll provide the 80,000 amount. $80,000 on top of that. So there will be a much smaller requirement for the municipalities for matching. I mean, in total, it really will be 5%. So it'll be 20% of 100, but it'll be 20% of that amount, and then we'll provide the 80% towards the match.
Thanks, Chris. And I think that pretty much, we can go to the last slide that has our contact information on how to get a hold of us and ourselves and Chris here at the bank. But what we're trying to get across to everybody here is that we have a lot of money here. We've been fortunate to get the money from the state, either the legislature or the state bond issue or whatever the source is. Our goal is to get RFPs out in the street within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We want to allocate the money by the end of the year, and then start distributing, and so you can start executing your projects in 2024. These are great opportunities to spend the money and to address your community needs. We have a very aggressive timeline. We just wanted to have this session with everyone today to just to be on alert that these RFPs will be out within definitely by the end of September. The MRP will probably be out even sooner. But after everyone's away on vacation this summer, we just want to give everyone a chance to bookmark these opportunities and be aware of them. We'll be doing wide broadcast email once the grants are available. We'll put them on our website, share the information with Jennifer and the League of Cities and Towns as well. But we really want to move aggressively on these opportunities and make awards by the end of the calendar year. So we're very eager to start working with our communities, and if anyone has any specific other questions about it, or if you like to schedule a follow-up call with us on any specific project you're considering, we're happy to do that as well.
Great. So if anyone does have questions, you can either raise your hand, or you can actually just take yourself off of mute, and we'll be able to recognize you for questions. Let's see here. I get anybody? All right. And if not, there was one more general question for the group from Tom Brindler with the Van Buren Charitable Foundation, and looking at if there are comments from our municipal participants on what kinds of things are making it difficult for them to apply for these kinds of opportunities. If anyone has any comments on that, we'd be welcome to hear those as well.
Yeah, we haven't heard of any particular issues with concerns about applying for, and the MRP. We do a lot of outreach. In fact, Kim, I think, has had outreach sessions with probably over a dozen, if not more, communities directly to say, hey, look, we've got these funding opportunities and you've got these pipelines. Let's think about how you can apply to make these projects a reality. So if anyone does any concerns about the application process, certainly feel to contact anybody here on this last slide, and we're certainly helpful to walk you through the process. So
Great. Okay, I don't see anybody else with any questions. So with that, I would like to thank you, Bill, and your team for bringing all this important information forward to our cities and towns, our membership. And this recording will be available on our YouTube channel. We'll get that out, and I do have the slides as well. So anybody who wishing to have copies of the slides, you can have those too. And if there's anything else we need to share, we'll make sure to coordinate that behind the scenes and get it out to all of our folks on the call.
well, thank you, Jennifer, for helping us out with this. It seems to have gone, no IT issues, so things have worked out well. So we're happy with that. So, and at some point, we've moved into new offices here at RIB, still in the Foundry Complex, in some bigger space. So we hope to have an open house sometime in October, November, to allow people to come in to look at our offices and meet people face to face. We have plenty of free parking and a lot of meeting space that we'd love to meet our municipal partners.
Terrific. Well, we'll be happy to help get the word out as that comes online. All right. Well, thank you folks for attending our first workshop Wednesday of the fall, and stay tuned for more. We have a cancellation for next week, so we'll see if I can fill that slot. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple weeks. And hope you all have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.